Welcome to the Bridge the Gap podcast. Here's your host, Dustin Udke.
What's up, everyone? Welcome into Bridge the Gap. It's been a minute. Took some time off. I was traveling. I went on vacation with the family. Went to up to Buffalo for my best friend's birthday party. Had a few other things going on. Kind of just took some time. And part of that was to reevaluate. So tonight we're going to talk about what the future of Bridge the Gap looks like, what it's going to be, and kind of the shift and why I'm making the shift now. So if you're watching, drop a like, subscribe, comment. I'll try to answer your questions. If you have questions about what's going on, I'll try to lay it all out there. So when I started this podcast, part of it was to, as the title and the name explains, bridge the gap between two things. And originally I thought the concept was to bridge the gap between certain things and football. Part of my personal brand has always been to bridge the gap between NFL football and fantasy football and kind of live in that middle space and bridge that gap between the two, and how there's football moves and there's fantasy moves and how one plays in the other and how some don't play in the other, and just be that kind of space in between. So that's why I go to the draft. That's why I go to the combine, to give you that kind of, what are GMs saying? What are scouts saying? What are those things are, and kind of bridge that gap. And then go from there and try to bridge the gap between things. So that's why we've talked auction leagues. And bridge the gap between a guy who just plays, someone who just plays redraft or maybe dynasty, and why auction leagues are similar but different. What's fun of them. That's why we've done ones on fandom and bridge the gap between your fandom for your team and how that plays into fantasy. But we've done some other fun things, which I've really enjoyed, where we've talked, we had one on counseling. We talked to Toronto Dave about counseling. You guys really responded to that and really didn't bridge the gap from counseling to football. We've talked a little bit in there about having a flexible mind space, and we kind of did a draft on flexibility in your draft settings. But I really enjoy those conversations about other topics. I love talking football. And if you know me and you see me, I talk football. I'll talk football all the time. My son hates it. My son's 11. He's always like, "You're always talking to people about football." I'm like, "Yeah, because I love football." And I don't want to lose that. But I have plenty of avenues for that. I have plenty of places and friends who will have me on their podcast whenever I want. I get invited on podcast all the time. I try to say yes to everything, when people ask me, because I want to be part of this community and talk football. But I didn't really have a space to talk about some of those other topics. You guys really enjoyed the one on counseling. You really enjoyed the ones on, admitting when you're wrong. And building friendships, how to do that, how fantasy can help you do that. So I spent some time and I've been thinking about it and watching, some videos on some, I don't want to say motivational speakers, but if you guys, know me, again, I talk about Colin and Samir all the time. They lost their homes in the California fires, and they kind of said, "Hey, we're still doing this, but we're going to put out some videos that we did before the fires. Then we're going to take some time off." And one of the things they always talk about is do you love making those kinds of videos? And so I really thought, do I really love making those kinds of videos? Yes, I love making football videos. That's a given. But I also really love making those other videos. So that is where Bridge the Gap is headed. There will be no more football talk on this channel. I am exploring other avenues for football talk. You'll see me on other people's guest spots. I see guys like Front Office Pros, who are two of my best friends of this channel. They were on the initial episode. Dynasty Degens, Fantasy Advice Network. You'll see me on shows talking football. Who knows if there might be another podcast from me coming that's just football. But what Bridge the Gap is going to turn into is just talking about other topics. And we might change the name. I don't know. I love the name. I love the logo. I love the intro music. We talked to Kevin about making music and creating and what that looks like. But I wanted an avenue, and I want to turn this into an avenue where we can discuss topics, and one topic a night, and just kind of really bridge the knowledge gap that I think some of us might have on that topic, or answer some questions you might have on topics, and just kind of open up a space where people can talk. So whether that's AI or whether that is counseling like we've done in the past, it could be future things like adoption. What does that look like to adopt a child? And the process that goes into and the decisions behind it. It might be things like dealing with, failure. I would love to talk burnout with some people, what that looks like to do something and just get burnt out, and how you come back from that. It could be broader-ish topics of mentoring and coaching. So I'm trying to line that up right now. What does that look like? storytelling through editing, the endless topics that we can talk to. So those are some of the topics I've reached out to some people about, just kind of people that I admire in spaces that do those things really well. And I have my dream list of celebrities and, and topics I would love to talk to them about. And hopefully, we'll get there someday where I can have an Ed Sheeran on and we can talk to Ed Sheeran about a topic. I would love to talk to Ed Sheeran about what it's like to go from kind of the outsider to kind of the standard, and that kind of process and thought process through his music. Those are the things I want to do on Bridge the Gap, because I just love talking, having those conversations. So let me know what you guys want to hear. If there's a topic you want me to cover, again, I don't need to be the expert in the topic. That's what I love about this. I'm just here to facilitate a conversation between me and someone who is expert's not the right word, but someone who's experienced in that topic. So if you go, hey, I want you to talk to someone about the fashion industry. Well, cool. Let me see if I can find someone. And I know some people in those spaces, or make some connections and connect with some people I know, through people know that. If you go, hey, I want to hear, I would love to talk to someone in the fast food industry. Okay, let me see who I can get on. Like, I know people that own franchises. That's what I want to do, is be a resource for you guys to go, hey, I want to hear about fast food, but I never know. I didn't know I wanted to hear about the fashion industry. And maybe you listen to it and you learn something, and maybe there's a couple nuggets in there that you can take that apply to other areas. But that's where I'm at with Bridge the Gap. I just want it to be a space where we can discuss a topic and keep it one topic per night, and kind of just dig deep into it and cover that, bridge that whole gap that between what you knew and didn't know about a topic, and what you didn't know you didn't know about a topic. Because there's so many things you don't know until you don't know. And then there's things you go, oh, I didn't know that. Now you know it. And I want to facilitate that in this space. I'm going to stay away from probably, the controversial topics, politics, religion. You might see a little bit of it. But I wouldn't have, I'm not going to have a, Democrat or Republican focused podcast. I'm not going to have, a deconstructionist or a right-wing Christian national on here to discuss those things. I may have some people who are those things who want to discuss other things. And that may seep in just because that's who they are. Just like football will always seep in because that's a big part of who I am, but that's not what the main topic's going to be. So this is what I want. This is what I'm hoping to get from you guys. Topic ideas, broad, generic, really specific, whatever that might be. You could just say, hey, I want to learn about, I'd love to talk about X, Y, and Z. Let me know. Drop it in the comments. Shoot me a message on Twitter. It's the DUnit13. Shoot Bridge the Gap, BTG_PodFF. We'll probably change that. Let us know what you want to hear, and then just engage in these conversations. I've always imagined this, and this is why this is live. I've always done live because I want it to not just be a conversation between me and the guest. I want it to be a conversation between me, the guest, and you, the audience, where you guys can come in with your questions and get them answered. So if we're talking coaching and mentoring, and you are someone who is a coach or mentor and you're struggling with something, you can ask the question and the guest and I can help work through that situation for you. Or there's a point of clarification that you want, you can get that. We can get that on a recorded video. It just takes longer. I want to be able to answer it live. So if I did that podcast and recorded it and then put it out the next day and you have a question, you're going to answer in the comment. It may take me longer to get to the guest and go, hey, here was a question. How would you answer this? I want it to be live because I do think this is a 3-person conversation. It's me, the guest, and you. And that's what I've always dreamed this to be. I love interview style shows. I love what like Dr. Kevin does on Fantasy Football Unlimited, what Casey Kasem does, Jack Lucene, Carla, what they do on those kind of interview styles where you get to know the people as a person. And I think those are great. And that's kind of where I've modeled this, but this is just going to be about a topic and we bring someone in and you learn a little bit about that person through that topic. Because again, I'm going to bring someone in who has experience and has lived through that. I'm not going to bring in someone from the fashion industry to discuss, working in fast food, right? If they don't have that experience, I'm not going to bring a musician on to talk about painting. Like that's just not what I'm going to do because that's not what this is for. I'm going to bring someone who has some knowledge, who has lived through or is living through whatever that topic's going to be. So I hope you guys enjoy the ride. I'm really looking forward to it. It's something I've been really just kind of mulling over for the past week, so I've taken some time off. Appreciate you guys sticking around with the time off. I've even picked up some subscribers. It's just been not fully planned. There was a plan to take 1 or 2 weeks off, and then things just kind of fell differently for me with work and life. So that's where I'm at. I'd love to give you guys an update on my work and life. Work is work. The football stuff is going great. Super happy working for the Fantasy Advice Network. Got my NFL draft credentials today, so I'm super excited to go to Green Bay in a little over 2 weeks. Super excited to go up there. We went on a Disney cruise a couple weeks ago for our family for spring break. Had a blast. Highly recommended if you have kids to do a Disney cruise. Went to one of my best friend's 40th birthday party back at the end of February. Such a refreshing time, and that really kind of confirmed this change for me. So I went to visit my friend who I've known him since he just turned 40. I've known him since he was 15-ish, and I've known his wife for a few years longer. So people I've known for 20 plus years. And they're married and they have 4 wonderful kids. I've known them longer. Their daughter is 13 years old, and I've known them longer than their daughter is old, right? Like, so she's 13. I've known them for twice as long. Like, I met them when they were her age. And it was great just having time with friends. And so it was me, my best friend, his 2 brothers. We're like the 4 brothers. I'm like the 4th brother. And just hanging out with them and getting to talk to them. We went out one night, got wings, got ice cream, went to the mall, walked around, just had a blast, just hanging out. Really confirmed that, like, I enjoy these conversations about things that are beyond sports. I still love sports. Don't hear it on. I love sports, and you will still see sports content on my Twitter. You will still see my articles coming out. You will still see them on other people's podcasts. You just won't get fantasy sports here. You may at some point get an episode on fantasy baseball or fantasy hockey or something like that, or the NBA, or those broader topics that I don't know about. But you're not going to get a lot of fantasy football talk. So that's what Bridge the Gap is headed to. So went to my best friend's, one of my best friend's 40th birthday party. Had a blast. Just hung out with them for 4 days. Got to sit around, play games, late nights, just talking, playing cards. Really just confirmed that I love having conversations with people, and that's what I want Bridge the Gap to be. Came back, went on the cruise. Cruise was a nice, refreshing time. Actually headed back out to Buffalo for my grandfather's funeral. He passed away a couple weeks ago as well. He was 92. So we're headed out. The funeral got pushed back just because of scheduling conflicts. So we're headed to Buffalo for that, and then I'll be at the NFL draft. So busy couple weeks, but it shouldn't impact the normal schedule of Tuesday nights, 10 p.m. Eastern here for Bridge the Gap. I know I've missed the past few weeks. I'm trying to get back to it. So I appreciate you guys, tuning in, even though I haven't been consistent. I know consistency is a big thing for me, big thing for YouTube algorithm and all those sort of things. And it's a big thing for you guys. If I say I'm going to be a weekly podcast, I need to be a weekly podcast. My goal is to still do this weekly. There may be weeks where I miss just because if other things prop up, I've got an 11-year-old son who's got things going on. Luckily, not too much on a Tuesday night. That's why I do this on Tuesday nights. But you never know what else might come up in life, travel, other things. But I picked Tuesday night specifically because there wasn't a whole lot going on Tuesday. So you can expect 9 out of 10 times I'll be here on Tuesday night, 10 p.m. Hopefully with a guest. I've been working really hard to schedule guests in the past few weeks of just reaching out to people. Some who I have topics I want to talk to. Some people I'm like, hey, what would you want to talk about? And kind of getting there, picking their brains and kind of working through that with some people. Trying to schedule some really good guests. I've taken some big swings. And none of them have panned out yet, but I'm a big believer in taking those swings, and worst they can say is no or nothing. But it doesn't hurt to ask. So I'm trying to get some bigger names maybe you don't know, maybe you do, but names that I think have a lot of clout and expertise in those areas I want to talk to. I'm not going to give any spoilers, but people who are big names in industries like fantasy football, but people who work for big names in other industries, or other creators or other avenues. So that's the various thing. YouTube, music, all sorts of areas. I realized I had a vast connection of people that I was not tapping into because I was trying to bridge the gap between something in football. Now that I'm just bridging the gap between what you know and don't know in topic, I realized I had this vast wealth of people that I could kind of connect to. And I've been very fortunate in my life to have really good connections, know a lot of people who have done really well for themselves and kind of have carved out their place in this world, and had some, some level of success. So I'm really taking some swings, some big swings with people that I've never even talked to, but just throwing it out there and said, hey, this is what I am. This is who I am. This is what I want to do. Would you like to come on? And we'll see. And I'm going to keep doing that because I do believe that there's room for these type of conversations to be had. But again, this is a conversation between me, you, and them. So if there's something you want to hear me talk about or you want a podcast about, shoot it in the comments, shoot me a DM, shoot me an email, shoot me a message on Twitter. I will work hard to facilitate that. It might take me a little bit of time if I don't have a connection, but I'll work hard to get those connections. Again, I want this to be a conversation. So if you're out there and you're listening and you're going, man, it'd be really cool to hear someone talk about, developing a game. What does that look like? Let me see if I can get a game developer on, whether that's a video game, board game. Let me find someone. If you want to talk to someone about sales, let me try to find someone who's a good salesman and someone who's, successful in sales. If you want to hear someone talk about, video production, I'll bring someone on who's big with video production. I know people who do those things. I just think in your own life, there's people out there, that are what you would consider a master or an expert in an area. And what conversation would you have with those? That's what I want to do in this podcast. So Bridge the Gap's changing. I think it's a great change. I'm super excited about it. Super excited that I get to broaden my horizons because there's going to be things that I don't know that I don't know. I know a little bit about a subject, but I know I'm missing some knowledge gaps, and I'm hoping to bridge those knowledge gaps for all of us, for me, for you. I'm hoping it's beneficial for the guest that comes on because they get asked you questions and maybe it helps them ponder and think of things differently. And again, if it's a conversation between three people, we should all be able to help each other grow and learn. Football will not be on here anymore, but you will still get that from me on my Twitter and other podcasts that you'll see me on. So Fantasy Advice Network's a great place to check out all my articles. You'll find stuff on there. Life's been good. I'm really looking forward to the NFL draft. Really looking forward to what this new season and this new direction of the podcast is going to be. Nothing's going to change in terms of the name. It's still going to be Bridge the Gap. We'll probably drop the FF off of things. We'll see what it's like to change things on socials and YouTube. That's a whole other ball of wax to get into, but expect more conversations about topics. And again, if you want topics, drop them. Let me know. This is not my podcast. This is our podcast. That's the way I've always looked at this, that this is something that we do together, and we bring someone else on to kind of help with this conversation. So I'm super excited about it. I know this is a little different style podcast than what I've done before, both tonight and going forward, but I wanted to at least come on here and tell you where things are going and not just not talk about it and then change it. And then you guys are like 5 weeks in and go, man, he hasn't talked about football in 5 weeks. And you message me like, hey, when are you going to talk football? Or you submit a question about football in the chat. And you're like, hey, you didn't answer my football question. I'd be like, oh, this isn't a football podcast anymore. This is no longer a football-related podcast. It's been kind of muddy in those waters a little bit the past, 8 months, or not 8 months, 8 weeks, 9 weeks. I guess it's been 3-4 months since I started. We talk a little football, a little not football, a little football, and not football. But this is really not going to be football at all. So, but if you have questions, I'm always here to answer them on Twitter. My DMs are always open. You can shoot me a message. Happy to help you guys win. I've always said that I want fantasy football to be fun. And if winning is fun for you, I'm here to help you. If trading is fun for you, I'm here to help you. If connecting with people is fun, I'm here to help you. And that kind of carries into what Bridge the Gap is going to be going forward is I think learning is fun, which is as corny as that sounds. I do think hearing different things from different aspects of life is fun. Sometimes it'll be about a specific genre or topic, but sometimes it'll be about a thing. It'll be dealing with loss. It'll be dealing with failure. It'll be burnout. It'll be these kind of concepts and how you deal with them and how you overcome them. And that's really where I'm at. So hope you guys are excited as I am for this change. I know it's different. Please, 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 please give me those topics if you want them. I can't, I can schedule people, but I don't know what's going to resonate with you. So I do my best to come with topics that I'm excited to hear about and people I know that can talk on them. But if you want something, let me know. It's been really fun. Appreciate you guys tuning in every week. This has been a super fun, humbling experience to start a podcast from scratch. build up the subscriber base, knowing that you guys are watching live and also afterwards. You guys comments, you guys are filling in. I've always wanted to, again, be a place where people can come and have a conversation, whether that's live, which is why we do this live, or after the fact. It's always just as fun, whatever fits your schedule. I know 10 p.m. Eastern isn't always easy for everyone. It's just what works best for me and my life and my family. And I know it's not convenient for everyone, but I hope people start tuning in more and we get more people. Tell your friends and family. If you're watching and you haven't hit that like and subscribe, please do. Obviously, that helps me grow, and reach more people, because I do think there are going to be things that are going to come on this podcast that are going to be super beneficial. And that's where I'm at. I mean, we're just going to talk about whatever it is that I can, find someone who's got some expertise and some experience in it. So you might see some repeat guests. Some people we had on who talked football might come on and talk something else. You might see someone come on twice to talk about different things. If there's someone who, is really good at photography, but also is really a joyous person, you might hear him come on 1 week and talk photography, and then maybe, a couple weeks later come on and talk about joy. I think that's an important topic. Dealing with difficult situations, all those things. It's just this, my mind was just open of like all the different things we could talk about. And this really came out of what I want to do, but also what you guys respond to. You guys really responded to the one about music. You guys really responded to the one about counseling. You guys really responded to the one about, making friends. You really responded to ones about keeping things, how to make things more fun and energetic. You guys responded to those. So I kind of, something I wanted to do, and I kind of took the cues from what you guys were responding to, because it doesn't matter if I like to do it. It does matter a little bit, but if just because I want to do it doesn't mean you guys want to do it. I could sit here and talk about, the Buffalo Bills all day, but if you guys don't want to hear about that, it's not going to go well. So it's going to be a little shorter. I appreciate you guys tuning in, but Bridge the Gap is changing. I'll just recap it one more time. No more football on this podcast. This will just be a podcast about conversations about a topic. Every week we will bridge the gap between what you know and don't know, and what you don't know on a certain topic. So we're going to bridge that knowledge gap for you guys. We'll be talking about different areas of life, different industries, different topics, different emotions, different things, joy, different laughter. We'll talk about music. We'll talk about art. We'll talk about all sorts of things and kind of just really just exhaust everything there is in that topic. So hope you guys are looking forward to it. Thank you for staying on this ride with me as I took some weeks off and came back with kind of a new direction. So looking forward to it. Hope you guys have a great rest of your week. It's been a busy time. Spring is right around the corner. Hope you guys enjoyed spring break. You guys are just getting out there and enjoying nice weather if you have it. Spend some time with family. I lost my grandfather, and I'm going to his funeral this weekend. And if you have family, call them, text them. I had a friend who got diagnosed with lung cancer. Someone who I met at the combine in the draft. And I didn't get to go to the combine this year, and he didn't either because he was sick. He thought it was pneumonia, and then he won't be at the draft. And getting my credentials day was kind of bittersweet because I'm super excited, but kind of bummed out I won't see him. He's still fighting cancer. His name's JC. He's still, putting up that fight, but he just can't travel. So people like that are important to you. If they're important to you, reach out and tell them that. I can't stress that enough. If someone is important to you, just tell them. Just say, hey, I appreciate you. Hey, I love you. Hey, I really enjoy our time together, whatever it might be, because you never know what someone's going through or what they might be going through soon. You don't know how long you have. So thank you guys for tuning in. I will see you guys next week as we start this new direction to bridge the gap. Hope you guys have a great one.
Thanks for tuning in to Bridge the Gap.